Okay, hi everyone. I'm Rosalind Brookman, Reporter Independent, and I'm here today with Alex Knight, who is the founder and director of Stemazing Ltd. Alex, if you could tell me a little bit about your background, and then we'll move on to how you got to found Stemazing.
Sure, yes. Hi everyone. So I'm a mechanical engineer background. After studying maths, physics and chemistry at school, I went and studied engineering at university and became a chartered engineer. And then sort of throughout my career, I've done various different roles in industry in engineering, from working for a small medical startup company through to working in a large consultancy, working on some of the country's sort of biggest infrastructure projects in engineering. So I've had quite a varied engineering career over more than 15 years. And I've always been very passionate about the importance of diversity and inclusion in engineering and STEM more broadly, which is science, roles where I've, for example, voluntarily society as a board member there, and a number of other things that are encouraging girls and all young people to consider STEM subjects and pursue careers in engineering.
So how did you get into it in the first place? Because going back very briefly, when I was at school, benefits of I can see how it's taught to girls and how interesting it can be. When I was at school, science was the dullest subject and no relevance to my life. So how did you get interested in the subject?
Well, my dad's an engineer, so that was probably a big influence. However, I do remember being at school, because I went to an all-girls school in Kent, and I remember thinking that I knew sort of doing science and maths would probably give me a good grounding to get a decent career and a stable job.
Yeah.
But I was brilliant at those subjects, and I didn't find them really at the time. It's only when I then decided that I would pursue engineering. Probably my dad was an influence, but also my physics teacher, just a throwaway comment once said, you could consider engineering.
Wow.
I was never given that advice like with our careers advisor or anything.
No.
And then, so that made me think, well, I'll pursue it, it won't close any doors. It will give me opportunities and I can always go on and do something different after that. And it's interesting and relevant STEM foundational subjects are in order to actually make a difference in the world. So I do feel like I didn't get that message enough at school, and it was just really by chance that I ended up being an engineer.
Yeah, see, that's all it takes, isn't it? It's someone telling you you can do it. No one ever told me that that would be a possibility. So it's just hearing those words that's relevant to you that's important.
Exactly.
So how did you go from working within that field to setting up your own company?
So as I said, I've done a lot of voluntary work over the years around diversity and inclusion in STEM. And it was back in 2019 that I just kind of felt like I really want to have my own thing where I can really put a lot of my own energy into particularly pursuing the challenge we have around lack of role people or female role models to inspire girls and also boys into STEM. So I set that up as a little side hustle, really, just an interest, passion project, whilst I was working in industry still. And then the first lockdown last year in March, I really struggled with juggling everything with homeschooling and working and my voluntary work. And I started to think then I really want to focus my energy where I feel like it will make the most impact, not necessarily where it will make me the most money, but just where I can feel like I'm really doing something that really matters to me. And then that thought kind of developed over throughout COVID. In September, I decided I was going to leave my job, which I actually really enjoyed. I loved it, but I couldn't do everything. Since then.
How old are your children?
They're 5 and 7. So they go to school in Oxford, and they need a lot of attention.
Of course they do. I mean, and especially the two different ages as well. They're at different levels in their schooling. So that's quite something that's obviously, I'm presuming Stemazing takes quite a lot of your time as well. So juggling is a difficult thing.
It is, but because I've got this two perspectives with Stemazing. One is Stemazing Women, to support women in STEM to be more confident, visible role models, and that benefits their career as well as, you know, inspiring other people. And then Stemazing Kids, which is about doing STEM clubs and going out and speaking in schools. And my kids actually love getting involved with that. So all my experiments and activities that I do for kids, which is aimed at primary age kids, I experiment on my kids first and get them to do these activities, and then my little guinea pigs.
Brilliant. That's work and schooling at the same time. That's great. So where have you found, how have you been, for want of a better phrase, finding the women to be part of this? Yeah,
so I mean, through my own networks initially, I've built up my own network of amazing women in STEM over the years. So initially I started just reaching out to them and like getting them to like recording a Meet a Woman in STEM video for me to put on my website as something that girls can go and look at to see examples of what, you know, they could do one day. But then as things have grown, and so definitely for this amazing Inspiration Academy, I need it to be broader than just my immediate circle of people I know. And just how the word is kind of spread through social media. You know, just through LinkedIn, through Facebook, through Instagram, just messaging people, picking up on it and contacting me or applying to be involved through my website. Way bigger than I could have imagined. I mean, I've had interest from engineers in Africa, in Australia. And it's quite overwhelming because I wasn't really thinking that I would make this a big thing. First of all, I like, you know, being an engineer, to trial it on quite a small cohort initially and then scale it. But it's had so much interest that I'm kind of trying to push myself in this first round of the Inspiration Academy to kind of carry it out at the limit I think is possible. So I've grown the people that I'm getting involved, the women I'm getting involved, from an initial group I wanted to have only 20 women, and now I'm going to probably include maximum of 45. For this first round, and each of them will engage a school of at least 30 kids. So we're going to engage well over 1,000 kids just on this first round. That's phenomenal, and it shows how much it's needed, doesn't it? If you've had that much interest without really pushing it too far yourself, that's fantastic. Yes, and I've been sponsored by a couple of organisations that I'm involved with. So the Institute of Mechanical Engineers, they're sponsoring me. World Refrigeration, the Brunel University, where I'm a visiting lecturer, and Amy, the company I used to work for, really helped. I've been really bowled over by how much interest it's had, which exactly like you say, shows how much it's needed. Yeah, that's fantastic. So are you, and did you say Oxted you're based in as well? So you, from your little hub in Oxted, you've spread out across the world. I know. Amazing, really. That's the power of the internet, isn't it? And now the fact that we are so used to communicating and like basically living our lives through the internet to COVID in a way that's a positive from COVID, it's just opened doors to break down those geographical barriers, which is so important with things like social mobility, underrepresented families. Those families, like I'm prioritizing places for families that qualify for free school meals. So I can really encourage those kids that would otherwise not get the opportunity to be involved. And that's all thanks to being able to do all this online. So let's talk a little bit about the Inspiration Academy. So you've got, as I said, you've got it separately. So you've got the women and you've got the children. How does the Inspiration Academy work? So these two objectives, Stemazing Women, Stemazing Kids, that up to now I've been running separately. I do mentoring for women and I do clubs for kids. So what the Inspiration brings those two things together, where I'm supporting women for half the program, the 4-month program. I'm supporting women to be more confident in their public engagement and more camera. And then the second half is them delivering my Stemazing Kids sessions to their own group of Stemazing Kids, so I'll match them up with schools. And so this is creating basically a vehicle for me to support women, empower women to be more visible role models, and link them to schools so they've got like a really easy way to inspire young people using the resources that I've created during lockdown to do really effective, simple STEM clubs with only resources that you'd have at home anyway. So with the schools, you said, whereabouts are they also around the country? Are they schools locally? So initially I was thinking I would focus on schools locally in Surrey. But again, I've had a lot of interest from schools all around the country. The UK has been a fantastic sort of another organisation that's helped me spread the word around different parts of the country. And so what I'm going to be, they fill in a form on my website, and on there it asks what percentage of families qualify for free school meals. So I'm going to prioritise based on that and the information they've put in the form. So it won't just be limited to Surrey, it will be much more broad. And actually women who may end up having women who are doing this in Africa, in which case I'd like them to link in with their local schools. And that could provide a whole host of different challenges on how to do this, but we'll work through that as engineers. We're problem solvers, so we'll find a way to make it a success.
Yeah.
You've frozen now. I'm not sure if that's me or you. Oh, sorry about that. It was me or you.
No, I can't tell. We froze for a little bit, but we're back on now. So do you want to just, you were saying about, I think it cut off just after you were saying about working through problems being engineers. How technology freezing is one of those problems. Situation. What are your plans for when, hopefully, because I am hopeful this will end at some point, when we can go and actually meet in real life? Have you thought that far ahead?
I mean, that's how I used to do all my STEM outreach, but obviously then you are limited to where you can travel to. And so I feel like in future, if I can get, like, basically empower Stemazing women across the country, across the world, to feel like they have some really simple go-to toolbox of STEM activities they can do with children and go into schools and do that live in person. Fantastic. So I think we'll have a combination, as well as still doing stuff online, so that different women can reach children all over the place, anywhere, maybe in different, so that we get the best of both worlds. Yeah,
absolutely. Presumably, as you said, you've had so much interest from women particularly. Do you have a waiting list for the next round of this for people who are interested, but you can't fit on at the moment?
Yes. So yes, absolutely. I think that's exactly what I'll have to do. So I hadn't really considered exactly, where I'll be going next after this. Just checking you can hear me okay, because your image is frozen. So hopefully you can hear me okay. So I will be definitely taking the women that have applied this time round that won't be successful because I've got a very limited number of spaces, and I will be definitely keeping in touch with them and encouraging them to take part in the second round, when hopefully I can grow this and actually women, and therefore a lot more children as well in the future. So I definitely encourage women to apply, because that time round they can be involved in future at some point.
Yeah, fantastic. Right, okay, thank you very. You can leave him and first. And again, we are having trouble today.
Yes, if people go to my website, which is www.Stemazing Ltd, then you can see on there I've got a page called the Inspiration Academy. They can go on there, they can apply to be involved. So that's women in STEM, and schools can apply to be involved. And the deadline for women is, actually this is going out in March, isn't it? Sorry.
Yeah, so, that's right.
So basically people me on my website, which is www email stemazing.ltd@gmail.com, and love to reach out certainly to the local community here in Surrey and get more schools and women in STEM engaged.
Okay, lovely. Thank you so much, Alex, for talking to us. And hopefully we can keep in touch. So anything else that happens with Stemazing and the Inspiration Academy, we can sort of help you to promote and the paper for you. But thank you very much for joining us.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for having me.